All right. Welcome Internet. Welcome to live streams. You are on the channel, on my channel, where we are streaming about streaming technologies, Kafka and event streams and stream processing and other stuff. For some reasons, Sergei is also here. Let me switch back to the screen where I am, because I'm doing intro, but meaning that the technology is working. Technology is working, and you on the live streams, for some reason, still doesn't work. But anyway, I'm gonna be sitting here because my this camera is showing some of the weird glitches. So I'm going right in here. All right. Okie dokie. Okay. So as you see my trailer, that I have Sergei here with me, and we're doing live streams together today. Sergei, how are you?
Hey everyone. Oh, quite good.
Okay. People in the chat, people in the YouTube chat, and let us know how you hear, because previously we had the phantom sound of Sergei. Let me just switch my screensaver on the background. Right.
Hey, Sanil from Belfast, UK. Oh wow, nice.
It is very interesting times, you know, when you do like production yourself, and and you do many things yourself, and there's no producer, there's no director, so we're doing this. All right. Sunil, welcome from Belfast. We're happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, as always, it's great to have you. Sergei, how you've been? I see your camera look is slightly improved over weekend. So let me show everyone your how you look and the fantastic picture. Do not forget to follow Sergei. You right now see his
should be somewhere here.
Exactly. All right. Yeah. But this looks nice. It's much nicer that you look previously, and
hey, thanks.
It's
You have no idea how much time I spent, you know, setting all these things. I guess I would just write a blog post because, well, that was quite a ride. But I hope that you enjoy this new video coming from myself, because previously it was shitty.
It was alright. No, it was alright. Like the people join here for content and some of the cool beats, right?
Oh yeah, indeed.
Okay, so do not forget, we accepting likes as a payment for these videos and for these tutorials. So this is why this is how you can support us and how you can support this channel. All right. Great. So how many people? I see 16 people joining us today. All right. So I'm switching to Sergei, and Sergei will have something to talk a little bit about. So from recap from the previous week.
Yes. So I guess I'm presenting. So I will start with you know, a massive facepalm, because yeah, last time it was quite a fun experience. We didn't get what we wanted, and we spent a lot of time trying to fix it. Not to myself, when you're using the latest and greatest, sometimes it's also the buggiest. But the good thing is that we, well, discovered the bug, and later we fixed it. And in fact, maybe I'll be talking about the way we fixed it, because, you know, bugs happen, but it's good to know how to fix, how to submit, you know, changes to projects. And actually, if I may, Victor, maybe I can even, you know, talk a little bit about the bug. So maybe you can give me the screen.
Yes, you do have a screen, and you can, you know, do your thing. You have a...
Okay.
Yep.
So now let's get fancy. As you can see, I also prepared with some streaming software.
Yeah, we got fancy and slightly improved our quality. hopefully, if you people will watch this in internet right now in the browser that support 4K, we stream in 4K. So in this case, you probably will have a better picture. Hopefully, you'll have a better picture.
Yep. Okay, anyway, so just to recap from previous episode, we ended up desperately trying to fix the JSON schema plugin. And what happened, actually? The thing is, liiklus supported JSON schema for quite some time already, but Cloud Event support was just added. And since it was just added, and we are using this latest version, which is in release candidate, but not in the release. But we wanted to kind of demo the Cloud Event support. We had an issue, and due to the issue, the schema plugin was incorrectly assuming that the payload of the Cloud Event is byte array. It obviously not. It can be, well, anything. So this is what we had to fix. And if I open the JSON schema plugin now, then you'll find a slightly different code. Now we are not assuming anything. We just take the event as it is, if it is Cloud Event, because it can also be just some binary value. It still supports two formats, Cloud Events and binary. But anyways, and now we check whether the data is something we can work with. It can also be something we don't know how to handle. You may ask me or whoever you prefer to ask usually, why failure? Like, isn't it better to just, I don't know, render some warning or something, continue? Well, yeah, maybe, but we are talking about the schema, and I rather prefer to fail instead of just letting some incorrect event, possibly incorrect event, get into the event log, because event log is immutable. Once it is there, you will have hard time fixing it. And another thing is that what we are doing at the moment, we are sending events and we are checking for the schema in production. That's not something you would usually do. You would do it in development, most probably, or maybe staging, why not? But in production, well, if it works on staging, it works in development, most probably you won't be able to push such events to the event log. Although you could still run it in production with the schema plugin enabled. It's optimized for the performance, but still. Anyways, now we finally have the proper code for checking whether it is byte array, string, byte buffer, or maybe even JSON node. Why not? Since we know how to work with JSON nodes, since this JSON schema plugin uses JSON internally, then we can just optimize it. And instead of parsing it, we can just continue as it is because we already have an instance of JSON node at hand. Remember I tried to fix it last time. Victor, do you remember that?
So you trying to do some weird not hard coding, but some hard swapping of the code on the fly. This is what I remember from the last time.
Indeed. And what we tried to fix is we replaced byte array with byte buffer. And it should have fixed the issue. But the problem is that when I tried to deploy it, since I was using the latest Docker image, well, apparently Scaffold has its own view on the latest, and it does probably some caching or hashing or whatever it does. But the thing is, it didn't get to production. Just we deployed something, but it wasn't the version we were running locally. And if you remember my surprise, and my surprise came from line 91, which was pointing to an empty line in our source code. It was exactly that. So it couldn't be that we deployed our fixed version and it didn't work. Just, well, we didn't deploy what we wanted.
So but essentially, anyway, it's a typical problem where you're using latest tag in general. So in general, it's a good idea not to use latest tag. You use either version or come up with some sort of schemas for snapshotting.
Yeah, but we are here for some fun, and seeing me or Victor dealing with some not working thing is fun. I guess we'll agree.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So we have a quick question for those of you who join us. Let me quickly address that. So the people just ask like what's the background? 2 weeks in a row, we're trying to talk about some of the topic that is slightly advanced. And in this channel, we're talking about a little bit advanced topic that I have in a different channel. So this is why it's very difficult to do kind of like a background for each and every time, because we kind of putting things on top of the previous episode. So on the previous episodes, we started doing this the liiklus event gateway. We started hacking around with this. We deploy this in Kubernetes. We use it against the Confluent Cloud, where is our Kafka and our persistency there. And we're talking a little bit more about infrastructure and about architecture of this plugin. And one of the things that we failed to do last time was to handle the schema aware messages. So we try to fix that by applying plugin, but we realized that this is a kind of like a too fast, right, to talk about the plugins yet. So.
Yep. I guess we'll make another episode about plugins, or maybe we'll touch it today. We'll see. Yeah, and just maybe because I understand that some might join without watching previous episodes. So a very short introduction to the technology we are trying and we are playing with. It is a gateway, and it is an event gateway. So we can think of it as Nginx for Kafka or Pulsar or Kinesis or whatever it is, because that's the idea. We just have one gateway that allows you to connect to various event storages. And we are trying to get the most out of it. So yeah, let's try to get the most out of it today as well.
Also, Sergey, you want to, when you're talking, not showing anything, you want to switch to the camera view, because people get to enjoy this view.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So yeah, so, and
anyways, if I may,
yes.
I just wanted to finish that. It will be quite quick one, but anyways, the problem was fixed. But I also wanted to very quickly talk about one topic, and I remember, I think it was Gleb last year who said, go TDD. And that's a very good suggestion because, well, tests is the best way of testing whether your fix worked or not. And I did not test it properly, probably, especially in the plugin I wrote. But the good thing is that now, as part of the plugin fix, JSON plugin fix, we also introduced some tests, smoke tests, because unit tests were passing, because they never tried to pass invalid cloud event. But integration tests would never lie. So make sure that you write proper tests. That's something I did not, despite me being part of test containers project where we advocate testing, integration testing to everyone. So
did you implement this test using the test containers?
It's actually in memory because we don't need to start anything like Kafka or whatever because liiklus supports in memory mode, but we could.
Okay. And I guess this is the one of the another benefit of having this type of architecture where you kind of decoupled from underlying storage or from underlying technology where you have like all the bells and whistles and whole family in loadout you need to bring just for simple tasks like testing. So in this case, your hardcore logic that handles, all the things, schemas, rate limiting, other things, essentially gateway, what it does, decoupled from underlying storage, so you can even use it for, self-testing.
Yep, and it's much faster than starting, let's say, Kafka. So yeah, it's another good opportunity, or not opportunity, but another good feature of event gateways, as long as the event gateway itself starts fast.
Yep. All right, so what we're doing today, Sergey?
I think we already had, first of all, we need to verify that our fix worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, what's the point? And I think I'll give it to you. You should have the producer, and it should now fail because we deployed the schema. So I guess we should try running your producer and checking the result now. And
So let me
this time,
fetch it back.
it will be the exception. You'll see me just bumping my head on my table, or like I don't know what I'll do to myself, but probably not something good, but in HD. So it will be much better.
But you're streaming back whatever quality Skype gives us, so not super HD, but at least like your picture look nice. Yeah. All right. So switching to the point where we are looking, and you should see my screen as well right now. Hopefully this thing gonna fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do see your screen. Cool.
Yeah, I hope this thing gonna fly with the with all this setup, because the computer is incredibly spinning wheels and spinning the fans in order to run all this monstrosity that I have right now on my in my set. But hey, we're getting fast computers these days. So I hope everyone is enjoying their time so far. So how the people are going while it's IntelliJ is loading? Let's use this opportunity to know our audience a little bit more. All right, so I see right now 11 people dropping. People, don't go. We have the cool stuff to show you, so do not leave just yet. And where from? Like all the people who join us, where you coming from? Where are you joining us today? So while my IntelliJ is building and mining some of the bitcoins, let's use this opportunity to chat.
I think today we are streaming with normal mode, not low latency, but the normal one. So we may get the answers like seconds after. Or
Yeah.
Actually, I see Igor from Munich. Cool. Hi, Igor. So people are getting our stream already.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. The time the thing is coming. So we have
Pedro for Portugal and
yeah. I also haven't. I was having the hard time to also pronounce his avatar. But like, thanks for joining, Pedro. Welcome. All right. So okay, let's see. So last time, what we did. Sorry, do you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I do.
For some reasons, my mouse doesn't work. And this is weird. This has happened before, but doesn't. It's maybe an IntelliJ idea. Something is wrong with IntelliJ. No, it should be fine. Let me see if I can exit the full screen again. This setup is just crazy. Maybe something is not working. Okay, so where's the source code? Where's my I don't see any sources, but my code was there. So let's see if it's actually still
maybe
there.
Maybe to re-import it in IntelliJ.
Yeah, maybe.
If you want, you can get handed to me, and I'll do something from CLI meanwhile.
Yep, let's do this one. So I'll check if it's screen sharing on my side is breaking my IntelliJ. And now you can switch to your screen now.
Cool. So let me share my screen, and what we'll try right now is we'll try to use grp curl, our favorite utility so far, to send something to our running liiklus instance. And I already deployed the fix. So yeah, I won't be showing you how to deploy the fix because it's the same operation anyways. But anyways, If we try to publish now, then first error we'll get is invalid MIME type, because obviously JSON schema would only work with something like, let's say, application JSON or some other JSON compatible option. And for that, I need to check liiklus cloud event, for example. The field is media type, okay, so it should be just media type. Where is it that we can also check, because here all the fields we are sending in this JSON, it's actually not JSON, it's just gRPC curl that will map it to underlying protobuf message. So I can always go to the protocol and check what was the field name, because I keep forgetting. And the field is data content type, obviously. So I can just use it as, wonder if it will work with data content type. Let's try. Application JSON. Okay, boom. Finally, we get some result. And this result is now schema for com example. How does schema plugin work? We provided a file that contains entries per topic of different event types. And then it will be extracting the event type either by JSON pointer, if you're using the binary message, or cloud event type, because it's strictly defined. In our case, we're using cloud event. So let's try to change our event type to something that we have in our schema. And just to remind you of what we have in our schema, I'll open our stream and our schema file. Okay, we have some long prefix, Confluent Developer Live Streams, device edit, because we kind of want to implement sort of a tracker for it. But we don't know whether it's going to fly or not. Let's try. Anyways, so I'm going to change the event type. And by the way, if you know how to do what I'm doing right now properly in that shell, like how to jump not just by 1 character, but by 10 characters, let's say, or by comma, please let me know, because I really suck at terminals.
I do know
Anyways.
how you can do that. There's
Cool.
a GitHub repository with my. I actually was able to return my code. For some reasons, it was in my local stash, so I can produce some events right now as you command.
Okay, let me try. Let me try to do it from the CLI, and you'll do it from your code, and we'll get the same result basically. So, anyways, cool. Now we have another issue, is because our data is not defined, which is fine. We need to provide it some object, some value. And this value can be, let's say, a string. So I need to encode it as, let's say, hello. By the way, thanks to my friend who suggested to use base64. Oh, come on. Oh, damn it. How do I? Okay, cool. So thanks, Kirill, for suggesting using the CLI tool instead of just going to the website. So anyways, now the data field will contain a string. And if we do it like this, string found, object expected. Why? Is because we have this event defined as an object. It could theoretically be a string because it's just JSON schema. It's not object schema, it's JSON schema. But most probably your data field of cloud event will contain an object. And if we try to fix it again to something like an empty object, I should have remembered this, given that I tried it like 100 times last stream. But anyways, boom, device ID is missing, but it is required. So just JSON schema working. Now I get it back to you, and Victor, let's try to do it from code.
Okay, let's see what what else we've done last time. So not forget if the, let's see if the sharing is actually, no, something was wrong with the IntelliJ. So in this case, we changed the type, and I put this device edit as a type, and now it should go through, right? So if I go
Let me
here,
have a look. Message. I think device ID will be missing, so let's try it.
so how I can do like a full screen, but without like the presentation mode, but without going full screen. Okay, that would be great. So you will be able to see, yeah, the we will do this. Okay, perfect. Now I go to run this, and the next thing that we need to do is curl. So we're doing this to localhost. Not curl, HTTP. We're doing HTTP, like big kids, right? I forgot the command that we do, echo and something. We're doing this into HTTP. This is what we're going to be publishing. Internal server error. This is what we expect, right?
Yep.
Internal unexpected character, code 64, and expected character. So let's see. It expects JSON, but we're not preparing anything in JSON format right now.
Can you open the place where you form the JSON request?
Yep. Expecting comma to separate entries. We do have a one entry. We have just a one.
Because you escaped the quote. Yeah, the quotes, you escaped them.
So this one. So like this.
Yeah, so it's invalid JSON. No. Like you have extra escape before param. So you can just remove it, I suppose, because it's part of JSON object.
No, it's a part of. So this is stream, param, and plus, and here we need to do. No, it should be plus. It should be all right. Why it is there?
Because you cannot use plus in JSON. You have to put it into the string.
Okay.
No,
but
not this one.
Param should be
just remove the escaping for the quote, because it will be just string. You can also put a breakpoint and see that the JSON is invalid.
Which one? Which one?
So param is a string.
Param is a string.
You need to concatenate two strings.
Exactly.
Like hello from stream and blah blah blah.
Yep. So this is how we're doing. This is what our string that we need to concatenate.
But now, inside the result, it will be hello from live streams, space, quote, and then unquoted at B-side up. So now if you remove the escaped quote and add it after plus param, it should be fine. You should have used JSON actually.
So I will move it from here to here.
Yeah,
that should work. But like we're doing this in a hard way, in a raw in a raw fashion. If you remember, I was able to even to type this this JSON by hand last time we did this. And let's see if publish failed, illegal unquoted character.
Okay, come on, use Jackson.
So it would be even worse for me to use Jackson, because I don't. Let's do this one. So we're gonna be doing. We remove all this weird stuff. So yes, this is our message. This is our hello live streams. We're adding string here, and after that we're putting here That should be work. Yeah, that should be correct thing. Let me remove this stuff because it's we don't need this. So let me remove all this, and we don't need
I just
this.
imagine people who watch this live stream, they're like,
what the hell
okay,
is
yay,
going on?
some Kafka stuff, and eventually we fix JSON. Like
this is how it happens in this stream. So message, hello, plus some param. We're opening new thing, and there should be we should have another /param /n. That should work, and the rest of the stuff is bullshit, and the rest of the stuff is this is what we close. Yep. Come on, what is that?
I think we are going to lose a lot of time if you continue using just strings.
Right,
or at least, in IntelliJ, you can actually edit string without escaping, and it will escape everything for you.
Yeah, this is what we did the last time, and I think right now it should be a good one, right? Should be good.
But if you want to use Jackson, you can use new object builder, write to string, and then you can just pass it map of
object new object builder
mapper.
Object mapper, new object mapper, and like
write value a string.
Value a string, and we just do this how we call it, like a map.
Just map off.
Do you think you have a Java 11 already there? Message.
Where?
In as a dependency for liiklus. Hello. From.
Well, yeah, actually, liiklus runs as Java 11 application.
And plus we're doing param. This is what we get, param. And this is what we get. And this is what we get. And this is gonna be your message, whatever, right? Exceptions and stuff. Something like that.
Spring will handle it for you.
Exceptions inappropriate for okay. So in this case, I will just do a sneaky throw.
Ah, that's fine. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Let's get to the interesting part. It's not an error. It's just a warning.
No, I don't think so.
Just add throws. Ignore the warning. Okay. It's just IntelliJ suggesting that it shall not be done there.
Message, what's the build problem? What's your problem, dude?
Oh, you close. You need to match the parentheses. Yeah.
Okay.
Looks good.
Building. I should put this so if you will look on my screen, there's a running cat, so meaning that it will showing the processor spike, so you would know that stuff is serious and there's a computer under very heavy load. Okay, another error. So what are we doing here? So device ID is missing, but it is required. So this is exactly what we want to have, correct?
Half past the stream start, and we finally formatted the JSON correctly.
Yay!
Yeah, the format of the future.
Yes.
We should have used YAML.
Yeah, no.
YAML should have allowed this.
Bring some likes. We have formatted JSON correctly, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now.
That's so embarrassing.
That's all right. That happens. You know, welcome to my world. Like I'm doing all sorts of um, all sorts of errors here. All right. So, and the next thing is that we need to generate a payload that will have the device ID in message, right? In this in this here. So what we do?
Yeah. And while you're doing it, I'll answer the question from chat. There is a question: what means source? That's part of the cloud event specification, and in the cloud events, and as we previously discussed, cloud events is a specification by multiple vendors, such as Microsoft, IBM, and others. And they decided that the source should be clearly defined, so that you can always identify who created the event. And one may argue whether the source must be required or not. But I find it a very good idea, and to make it a valid cloud event, I would have to request or require a source anyways. But one such example would be, let's say you have a service, user service, and you would expect user-created events created by the user service. And if for some reason you see that source isn't user service, let's say, or com example.services.user, then you may ask yourself, like, who created this event? And by using the source, you can also check who did so.
So
plus another thing is that ID has to be unique per source, but it doesn't need to be unique globally. So as long as source plus ID is unique, you are good. But if you have a user service and you have a database of users and you create events for these users, then you can use some local ID, let's say ID of the user in the users table. And if you use the source as a user service, then it will remain unique because user service will always will ensure the uniqueness of such IDs.
So here's the question I have. So I already have all this kind of like IDs, or it's a different one. Like this, I have some ID, source, all these kind of things I already have here, right? So only thing I need to put in the payload is device ID. This is correct thing I'm asking, right? So, and I can also put the device ID, I don't know, my device, my phone, something like that. And in this case, I'll close this. So in this case, message is not defined in a schema, and schema doesn't allow additional properties. So I don't need to have it. I can remove it from here or whatnot.
Message? Well, yeah. You have to remove it because if you quickly share my screen.
Let's do this one. Yep.
We have additional properties defined as false. And in JSON schema specification, it means that only device ID will be allowed, but not something else. And if you want, we can also add some optional field. Let's call it, I don't know, device alias, device name. How would you prefer to name it? Or what would you prefer to?
That's okay. Let's do device alias.
Okay. And type will also be string. And required is only device ID. So that now if I go to our stream and change the context, we push the thing.
By the way, my message went through because like now it's aligned with schema and stuff. So like everything.
Awesome.
Yeah, everything should be fine. Yep.
Okay, you know what we can do? You can switch to your screen and you can add this device alias field, and we'll try sending it. And probably first time it will fail because it's still deploying. At least I see that it's still deploying, but it's about to finish. Oh, it's actually finished. So now if you add device alias, so message was was unknown field, and JSON schema plugin was complaining about it. So let's assume that any other field would also be reported if it is invalid. But this device alias thing should pass now. Although it should also work without device alias. So we can comment it out later and verify that it works fine.
To upper. I don't know. Let's do this one.
For those of you who don't know how JSON schema works, that's a specification. You can find it online. Liiklus uses the latest available spec, which is version 4, if I remember correctly. And there's also version 5 being worked on. But yeah, it's not released. At least last time I checked, it wasn't released. So it will use version 4.
And we do have a question. Does Liiklus already support authentication authorization?
And since we are still playing with the schema, I'll try other thing later after you deploy this thing.
Okay, so I added this alias and should be able to publish it. And we should be able to see it in the UI, right? In this Confluent Cloud.
So, works.
There? Yes. Do we have a
Victor
connection to Sergei? Sergei, I can hear you. And looks like you don't hear me. Let me chat. Okay, no, like internet, let me know if you can hear me. And for some reason, Sergei doesn't hear me. And now?
Oh.
Yeah, but
Sorry, I had some issues with my headphones.
Your headphones, your microphone now switched to Apple headset. So check your Skype.
Fixed.
All right, and where's my friends? So logging in, and should be able to see our live streams. COVID, topics, events, and some messages that I will produce right now. Should be, yep, this is what we have here. Key value, device ID, and device alias and device ID. So we do have those messages, and those messages are landed in the Kafka topic. So,
but you know what? Let's do another thing. Let's try to deprecate device alias. So we're moving fast, and we decided that device alias isn't the best name because alias assumes that we're using to kind of in a way refer to it or use it by alias, but we don't. So let's just deprecate this field. What do you think?
Okay, so you're going into the schema mode.
Yep. So is it my screen now?
Yes.
Cool. Then I just checked one of the tasks because that's what I usually do. And apparently, one can also use deprecated fields in the schema. Why deprecated is the idea is that you can either allow or disallow, and disallow will be by default deprecated fields, so that if you're still in the process of migration and new services, let's say you don't want them to publish deprecated fields, but you still need some old services to catch up with the latest changes, you can still allow deprecated fields. But by default, it will be allow deprecated properties false. So that's what I'm going to try. Deprecated true. And now if I deploy it, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but actually, Victor, if you can you start, sending something, and I'll give it to you. So just try, yeah, just repeat the same command, and let's wait until we get something like illegal state or internal error or something. Okay.
So far we're doing all right. Yep. Okay, so we got the internal server error.
Boom. Yes.
And our exception
now,
says,
if we look at the error message,
device ID alias is deprecated. So this is what exactly what we wanted to have.
And now if we remove it because it's not required, then it should work just fine. Can you try it?
Okay. If I will remove it from here, from my...
just drop it.
Just... next time I should have used this Spring Tools, so it will refresh the code without. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so fast.
And this type of stuff would be super useful in in the live stream settings, because it's because we need speed.
Yeah, and actually I wrote an article how to use dev mode with test containers, because one way of speeding up your test would be to kind of use reusable containers.
Yep.
But sometimes it's not possible because you're using networks or some other things that make it non-reusable. But it doesn't mean that you cannot use reusable mode at all, or you cannot achieve fast test feedback. Another option would be to use dev mode, which will keep the JVM running. And as long as your JVM is running, your containers will be running, and your Spring application will restart, but it will be using the same instance of the Docker container.
Okay, in this case, okay, so went through, and now device ID is null, just simply because the way how UI displaying this, right? So let's see if I will be able to reset.
Alias.
Yeah, device alias. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Okay, so this is a very good question here. Deprecated should be considered as warning. Why are we considering this as error? Well,
do you want to answer that, or?
Yes, I actually asked this question in Twitter, where I was asking, is it overkill to treat this usage of deprecation API as a compiler error? And in my opinion, yes, because otherwise you will never have a time to fix these deprecations. This is different because here we need to talk a little bit about schema evolution, right? And how we can evolve instead of kind of like a deprecated schema as we go, but maybe issue a different version, like a next version of the schema where you will deprecate, and eventually you will be removing this, because this is kind of the process would be. What's your opinion, Sergei, on this one?
It actually matches really well the opinion you have. Making deprecated usages a compile time error, if we are talking about Java, let's say. So here we have a different thing. We are deprecating some fields in the schema because we no longer want new events to have this field. But when it comes to Java, I think that's a great idea to make it a compile time error, because why we are deprecating something, and I'm working on some open source libraries like project reactor or test containers. And when we deprecate something, we send a signal like, hey, this API should be gone soon. So please stop using this API and migrate to the newer one. And usually you only notice these deprecated issues when you update, let's say, dependency. And then you see when you compile that there is some error or something. But now we have dependabot, and it will send a pull request with the dependency being updated automatically. And you will just hit, OK, accept, and nothing going to happen. And few versions later, such pull request will fail because some method will be missing or something. If you make the build fail on deprecated usage, then dependabot pull request will also fail. Or when you update the dependency by hand, you will also notice that, OK, now the build is failing. I should take some action. Because otherwise deprecating makes no sense, and we could as well just remove the method, because if people will not be taking not be paying attention on
Yeah, so
deprecated
sometimes it's especially like if you're running the large project and there would be situations when you need to update, you are experiencing incredibly, painful anxiety to update these libraries because you don't know if there's some big changes. And maybe you few versions behind, you're not sure if the contracts change or like behavior of certain methods change. Usually not, because otherwise it's kind of like it would be very, very painful to use library that like for the same method will change the behavior and things like that. So I think I agree with Sergei. I started recently following the similar approach for example, for Kafka tutorials, where idea is write tutorial and forget about this, so continue to write more tutorials. But it needs to be, the software will be updating. New version of Kafka will be released. New version of the Confluent platform will release, and dependabot will handle this update of these dependencies. And for example, I was able, when I was working on refactoring, I enforce failure of compilation for that particular reason. So when I did this, I was able to discover a few projects that use some of the old versions, like 2.3 of say Kafka streams, where a topology test driver used different API. And that API was also deprecated, and it was extremely what the word I'm looking for? It was not straightforward API to use, since VenturePort topology test driver has like much better way how you can write a test, and it's like more concise and straightforward. So let's talk about the versions of the schemas, shall we?
versions of the schema.
How we can handle different version and schema evolution. So for example, the same example, we have a device ID. We want to throw device alias for the next version, and the version after remove device alias. How this handle this type of situation. There's like a schema registry that handles this on the Kafka side, but like how we can handle this on event gateway side of things.
Well, field being deprecated means that consumers should also kind of follow up with deprecation and update and stop using the field. Although deprecating something in the event-based system is usually painful because you have an immutable log. And this log may or may not be depending on how you do things, but usually would be maybe not from offset 0, but from some long time ago. So we have to remember about such things. But anyways, if you deprecate some field, but and you stop sending this field, and then some service starts failing, let's say because you were using the field in your code, you may also consider writing upcasters. And what is an upcaster? It's a plugin for the gateway. Not sure we're going to do it today, although we could, but just want to talk about it briefly. The idea of upcaster is that you write a plugin that will handle an event when it is being consumed from the event log, and then you perform some transformation, in-memory transformation, so that your consumer will see it as a different type of event, not type, but a different view of the event. So let's say if we decided not to deprecate device alias, but we wanted to rename the field from device alias to device name, we could do either update our consumers and start reading both. Like if device alias is set or if device name is set, use device name. Otherwise, fall back to device alias. But that's not that doesn't scale, especially when you have tens of consumers. But if you do it in the gateway, then you can write this code once, and then every consumer will see events, even events from the past, as if they had this device name set and not the device alias. It's a very powerful thing.
So we should try this. Maybe not right now, but like definitely. If you have something off the bat that you can just like deploy this and we can try it around. What do you think?
Let's dedicate a separate stream for things like upcasters and plugin development.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So we played around with this one a little bit. So what's we gonna be doing next? So we need to have something. Do we have anything kind of like some of the producer that ready to use and maybe generate some of the meaningful data that we can reuse and start doing something with this?
Not sure I follow.
Yeah. So right now we kind of like inventing schema off the bat. Should we have some of the ready-to-use schema so we can start building something more or less meaningful for this demo?
I don't know. I thought we will step by step invent our own domain and our own schema.
Okay.
Yeah, that was something.
Let's do it. So in this case, I'm switching to you, and because you driving schema bit, and this is where we need to come up with something together.
Okay. And I'll also answer a question. So we almost missed the question, but I think we should answer it. Does liiklus support authentication authorization?
I thought you missed this like intentionally because I even highlighted this in the previous screens.
Okay, cool. Anyways, I do want to answer this question. I want to answer all questions, even the hard ones, even those that I cannot answer. But this one is very easy. Yes, liiklus does support authentication authorization. And the question is whether gRPC or RSocket supports it. Since, as we, in our previous episode, we spent quite some time talking about, but since we are using existing technologies, such as gRPC and RSocket, the question shifts to the gRPC part if we are using gRPC here, whether gRPC supports it. And for example, Vivi, the company where liiklus was created, they contributed back some of the plugins, and they contributed the GVT plugin so that you can authorize access to liiklus via GVT token. And they also created a mutual TLS or just TLS plugin so that you can access your liiklus deployment securely, which is kind of cool. And since later and everything is reactive, which means that we have this reactive context, and we can also put some parts of this authentication information into the context, and then we can access it from our service or from our plugin and perform some checks, which is very handy for things like rate limiting. And I guess eventually we'll actually reach the point where we'll touch this topic, and we'll write some plugin maybe for rate limiting per user.
Okay, cool. So let's get back to schema. I hope Pedro is satisfied with the center.
Yeah, I hope so too. So, okay, we have have device edit, so we can create some state in our system, which is already nice. I think we would also want to add something like, and it's completely unprepared. I have no idea how to design such domain for COVID tracker or whatever. But anyways, I think as soon as we add a device, we could also start doing some. I'm not sure whether they're doing location tracking or not, but if you're tracking the contacts, then okay, I know what we can do. Contact detected. And I do hope that we don't have anyone who actually designed the thing, the tracker themselves.
Let me see.
It will be very embarrassing otherwise if they're, Jesus, what they're doing? It's not how it's supposed to work. But anyways, we are just experimenting. So what I suggest here is we'll add a new event that will be sent when a contact is detected. When one device contacts another device. I think it's a nice idea.
Okay, so let's see GitHub. Maybe we'll find something.
Yep. Another question is whether we should be doing something like device ID or like first device ID, second device ID or not. And for that, I suggest that we will be using the subject of the cloud event, subject field. Because when we are sending events, and we could also use subject for device edit, I think. But anyways, if you refer to the spec, it will give you quite good explanation how certain fields should be used. And I'm looking for subject. Yeah, this is a subject. I'm a producer identified by source. So we could use subject for things like, yeah, if file is uploaded, I think it would be a file ID. Yep, indeed, it would be file ID. So in our case, we will be using subject as device ID who detected the contact, and then the device ID field will be the device that received on the receiver side. Sounds good? I think it sounds super messy, but I don't have any other good idea what we should use.
So I think I found something. I will. Yeah, there's a whole API available. Let me show you in. I'll send you this one. I'm trying to see if we can extract something interesting from this data. And what type of stuff they have there.
We do have quite some stuff. I'm not even sure where to look at.
Well, where to begin? Okay, so let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see this JSON. Okay. So, okay, that's just some data regarding the virus itself. Okay, I guess we will need to do some homework and research in the topic. Meanwhile, I suggest that we continue these two events for now, because I don't have any better idea.
Okay.
Victor, do you agree?
Yep.
Cool. Then I'll add contact detected. And I do hope that it sounds fine to the native speakers, because it may not. So yeah, we have some events. But you know what disturbs me? So far we were sending events, but frankly speaking, sending events isn't the best part of liiklus, but consuming events is. Although for now, I suggest that since we are currently talking about Kafka, before we proceed with liiklus consumers, we can also do it directly from Kafka with some Kafka tooling, I suppose.
Yep.
Do you have some ideas? How can we do it?
We can use like just a Kafka event listener from the Spring Boot. Just simply doing this because we're already doing this in UI, right? So in this UI we have some messages and we can access to this data. Where is it? Let me see if I will be able to open this one. Oh. We are something broke. And let's see if we have any messages. No new messages.
Was it really partition 0?
I have no idea. Like it's should be somewhere. And I don't remember what exactly we used as a key. So in this case, maybe it's not. It's just like landed some other partitions.
Maybe just enables a live view and sends some more events.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not?
Let me restart this. And send some event. Switch back to UI. Okay. There's a couple interesting things that I see here. So there's a key, value, and headers. So simply, if we just have a value, we can just go ahead and create KSQL DB and access to this type of to this data and display this, right? But do we? This is what we want. Like let's try this one. Let's try this called, I don't know, like let's call it whatever, right? Lunch.
Stats, maybe.
Stats, whatever. Yep. So it will take some time to provision. Meanwhile, I need to do cloud login. If I'll want to go to do login in my email, so I need to open my password. Not here. It's one password. So it's going to be my email that we're using. In order to, and I'll do this one. Enter. Yep. Incorrect email and password once again. So we go in here, and we go in there. Okay, cool. No. What? Why is that? Am I typing these too fast?
Some extra characters, maybe.
Maybe. Let me see. Enter.
But at least nobody would say that we scripted our live streams.
Yeah. So
never ever.
So let's see if I have any KSQL apps that are running. So right now it's not there. So reason what I'm doing this. So when this app will be up and running, I need to get access for this app. It needs to have access to whatever data we have here. So essentially, this events topic needs to be accessible through this application. In order to do so, we need to set up access control lists, and this type of stuff is done through Confluent Cloud UI. So I think we're still waiting until this thing will be provisioned.
while we're waiting, maybe I'll answer a question about our beautiful domain of data.
Yeah, let's do it.
What if 3 devices contact each other? That's a good question, and I did not optimize our domain. So if a device detects a contact to 2 devices, not just one, then it will send 2 events, like I contacted X and I contact Y. Maybe we'll optimize it in the future, but for now, we send one event when X contacts or like detects a contact with Y.
So it's peer-to-peer?
Yep.
Okay, so let's see if my thing is back. No, it's not there yet. Still loading. Another thing that we can try meanwhile is to read this data through standard consumer. It's a standard Kafka consumer. Yep.
Well, you know what? We can also do it in parallel. Okay, let me.
What do you mean in
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I could try to do it through liiklus consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already have it, but still, let's try that our code still works. And you can do it with maybe KSQL or some other tool from the Confluent stack. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that. So we can definitely do this. So who shared who screen I should share? Like let's share your screen. Let's share your screen.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I also will try to do start the Spring.io thing in my.
Sounds good. So I need the endpoint, and the endpoint is this. So just take this endpoint from the stream. I hope you already remember this IP, but if not, 193.122.4 and 88.
You're not sharing your screen.
No. Cool. So hope now I'm sharing. Anyways, so what I have here have also standard things. Or oh wow, IntelliJ, please don't do it to me. How do I close it? Okay, I close it.
Escape.
Okay. No, it didn't work. That's the thing. Okay, I'll delete it just to show that you can start from scratch. So we'll need. So we'll still be using, or maybe should we try RSocket? I think I'll try RSocket. Like, why not? And for RSocket, TCP. Oh, I need to recall how to do it. Now, sneakily, I'll be using RSocket. Okay, just to save some time, because that's the boilerplate that you write once, and TCP client transfer, of course. Socket connector. Oh, I don't have RSocket on my class path. That's the thing. So let me quickly add it. I'll copy it from the socket plugin. So I need to add the dependencies for RSocket. And these will be RSocket transport NAT and RSocket RPC core. Although I think RPC core is already there, but let's try it. Come on, Grado, do you think? Will be something, and it will be block. Come on, Gradle. Okay, it's gonna take a bit of time, but I will showcase how to use RSocket, and meanwhile, I'll just copy it from here. Okay, so my example isn't using the same set of dependencies as the main application. So I need to be more specific. Or did I pass it in the wrong place? I did pass it in the wrong place. Oh, Jesus, I'm so unprepared. Once done, we should have it. And if not, and I'll also show you how to obtain RSocket dependencies as simple as Maven RSocket. And then we'll be looking for IO RSocket. The folks from RSocket, they just released 1.0 version and a few follow-ups, of course. But this is really cool because now the transport is considered production ready, or not transport, but the technology. Which is kind of nice.
Remind me where we have this cluster. It's we deployed this somewhere in Europe, right? So in Europe, West. Yep.
It's
okay.
In Europe, yes. So I'm ready to create my RSocket connector, or like my RSocket instance. And for the RSocket instance, I need to provide some transport because it supports WebSocket, it supports TCP, there's even some Aaron work in progress, if I remember correctly. But for this one, I'll just be using TCP client transport, which will be using the TCP one and that. And my connect with can just use increase, create transport. I can just pass the transport to it, I think. Yep, indeed. So this is my RSocket. The next step is to create the liiklus client, RSocket liiklus client. And for that, I'll not be using the client provided by liiklus, but just copy from it because I don't want to show, existing things. And for that, what we have here, we have, oh, Jesus, haven't done it in years. When we inspect the generated protocol, it will generate stubs for RSocket, and it will generate stubs for gRPC. So before I was using just as a gRPC, and now I need to add the protocol for RSocket as well. And if we look at my project, then you will notice that it generated 3 source sets: Java, just with the protobuf, protobuf stuff, gRPC, and Reactor, which is not really Reactor, but it's Reactive gRPC. Now I need to add a protocol generator for RSocket. And for this, I'll just add it to, just copy it from the plugin. You'll also find the same set of instructions if you go to RSocket RPC project. And what RSocket RPC does is it basically gives you the same thing as gRPC, because gRPC is an abstraction for protobuf to exchange protobuf messages as service calls. But the same approach can be done for alternative transports, and in this case, it will be RSocket. So now, if I generate this code, I can just go to examples, Java tasks, other probably generate proto. It should work fine. And if you remember from this previous stream, there is also a client available. If you don't want to generate all this stuff, I decided to show you how to add RSocket generator to protobuf. Anyways, it compiled just fine, and it means that I should be able to inspect the generated sources, and I should find RSocket RPC. Boom. And here I'll be using liiklus service client. Sounds good. liiklus service client. Nope. I don't know why DNJ doesn't think that this is source root. Yep. New liiklus service client. And I pass RSocket to the liiklus service client. Boom. Now we have the client hands. I remove the gRPC stuff. So now we can do all the standard codes that we have seen in the protobuf file. And if we open the protobuf file once again, and we will see publish, subscribe, receive, acknowledge, get offsets, and get end offsets. And if you look at this list of methods, it's the same: publish, send, or publish, receive, acknowledge, and so on and so forth. So we want to subscribe on we want to subscribe on our events. And for that, I'll be using the subscribe action. Then I need to filter out only assignments, map it to assignment. And now I have a stream of assignments. I don't need per partition back pressure or anything, so I can just flat map them to the inner records. For that, I'll start receiving, because first you get assigned when you subscribe, and then you start receiving items, receiving events, receiving records. Receive request. Okay, sounds good. And for receive request, we need to set the assignment that we get. Our IT is the assignment. You can also rename it. And we also want to set that we know how to receive liiklus events, which is cloud event, this new fancy type. So yeah, assignment and format. I think that should be enough. And if you don't know whether you already have enough or not kind of fields set, you can always go to protobuf file and verify that all the fields, all the required fields are set. In our case, we were using receive request, and I have an assignment, I have format, and last known offset, we don't need it. Now, if I map it to the received liiklus event record, and yeah, just record, and if I also map it to the toString value without the new lines, because protobuf by default will add new lines, but I don't want them. Oh, Jesus. Yep, should be good. This one. So now I'm starting the consumer we just wrote, and our RPC part is missing as well. So I need to add another dependency. Bear with me. So we have the dependency on RSocket transport native, and what's still missing is the dependency on RSocket RPC core, of course. So I think we started. What was the topic name, by the way?
Events.
Was it events?
Yep. Meanwhile, my Kafka consumer is up and running.
Cool. Then I will give it to you. We'll check on my side what's going on, and you can continue.
Yeah. So essentially, I cut the corners as always. I just like use Kafka listener as my consumer. For those of you who wants to use oops, my keys. Oh, we'll dump it after. Where is it? If you want to access the Confluent Cloud, it actually has a pretty handy thing that I always use. It's a template for any type of language. If you're using this, I'm using this from Spring Boot. I just essentially just copy this one and paste into my application.properties. And after that, you just need to populate with right keys. Keys will remove afterwards. So in my code, it looks like this one. I do have Kafka listener, reading keys, reading value, and getting access to headers. And so remember, in the very beginning, since I'm reading this from the very beginning of this, and this stream was already what, like almost a month old, because we did the 2 ones and we skipped one, and it's 2 days, the 4th one. In all these events that we generated, those events are still in that topic. And when I listen, reading this from the very beginning, I see like many of these, like this is the beginning, right? And this is some of the things that I sent recently. I remember this device ID and so why we're not using keys here? So how?
We do have keys in a few events, and if you switch back to me, I can actually showcase it.
Yep. Okay.
Because I have it running.
Do it.
So
it's on
as
you.
usually, I mapped it things, but I didn't add .log, so we didn't see anything because we were not outputting anything. But anyways, I fixed it, and boom! Now we have everything printed, so we can inspect what we have here. And yeah, if I look at the output, I actually see some on next key this and event this, com example event, source example. Frankly speaking, I'm not sure from where it comes from.
This comes from like a
something?
gRPC client that we send in like episode 1, I guess.
Oh, right. So we were running the example, and here we see some data. So let me. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have removed. Yeah, I shouldn't have removed the new lines actually. But if I restart it, okay, cool. So here's the latest event, and was device added. Well, matches what we did. It also contains a new line. I guess it's a result of you playing with the event structure. Device alias something. Cool. So we have the events and we can read them through liiklus. But yeah, that's cool that you can also do the same from Kafka. So basically, we can use tooling from Kafka to read directly from Kafka, but we can also use liiklus abstraction to read without knowing about Kafka or without knowing what's used as an event storage.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and this is pretty handy, where you can. So I can come up with couple use cases how we can proceed, and let's talk to people. Maybe we can build a schema right now, and after that we just like wipe up this topic and start over. Once we start processing, because I don't want to put some extra code in order to kind of like filtered out some of the crappy content that we put before. So yeah, and I think, or we can just like remap, for example, because cloud event, each header cloud event has some sort of ID here. We can use this ID as a key, right? If I'm looking to this one. So what I can do, I can read this message and perform like a repartition. So in this case, I will extract this.
So you're saying that you need an ID.
Right. No, I mean, like, if we want to do some sort of aggregation based on device ID, we definitely need to have it somewhere. So, and the way how we can perform aggregation, this is like off the bat. We need to check if we can do aggregation on arbitrary field, but I think this is the general, the best practice is just like use repartition topic, and the Kafka Streams, for example, does this automatically. We can extract this running this kind of like a select key.
Actually, I just realized
select
we
key.
should have used. Sorry, we should have used the subject. Now I understand that for device edit, if we use a subject, then we would identify auto the key would also work. So yeah, and that's ID will be source plus ID. Well, it doesn't need to be source plus ID, by the way. So there was a question from the chat that the ID would be source plus ID or the statement. It must be unique when you combine source and ID, yes, but it doesn't mean that you have to use source plus ID as ID in your cloud event consumer. Can as well be just the ID. Another thing is whether it should be subject or key, or maybe both. The answer is, and that's the question I asked myself. The answer is, I suppose it depends. If you need to process in order, like if you need to preserve the order of events per device, then it would be key, because in Kafka, if you need to preserve the order, you use keys, and then the same key will go into the same partition.
Correct. Yes.
Is that actually like 100% correct, or maybe I'm missing something? Maybe Kafka Streams supports something for that.
Like you said, like once the data landed in the one of the topics, we always can repartition. We always can like massage this data and get the structure whatever we need or whatever we have. So yeah, so it's just really up to us.
What's the fastest thing we can do now?
So once we agree on like what we're going to be taking as a key, we just like write this small Kafka Streams app that will, extract this bullshit and will select something as a key.
Can you code it so that you said Kafka Streams, which means I assume you can code it.
Yep.
Because we just messed up a little bit with the thing, and we have subject for contact detected, but we don't have subject for device edit, and we don't have key anywhere. But I guess we can handle it. And if you can quickly implement your Kafka Streams application for that, maybe later we can also do it in liiklus for liiklus consumers as a plugin, upcaster plugin.
Okay, so can you once again like read me a specification for this task? Like what we're going to be doing? Class. So first one, we need to extract which field we will be using as our device ID. Subject plus ID. I don't see subject. Like we have an ID here.
Let's use subject for was it contact detected? Yes, for contact detected it will be subject. For device added it will be device ID field of the body. Will it work for you?
So we do have how we call it type. And we'll have there the device edit, right? and we'll have what I'm doing wrong.
Because you need to, like, it's Java, dude. You need to give it a valid identifier, and then you can accept the type as a string of the constructor argument.
I'm totally lost. Like, what are we doing here? So, Java.
Oh, you cannot use string as an identifier in Java.
Wait, what? Let me see.
Okay, last stream we were trying to Google how to convert byte buffer into byte array. Which
Okay.
was kind of
oh, yeah.
nice,
Okay.
not
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
API.
Yes. Like we can do something like this, right? I don't know, like this.
Oh no, that's gonna be.
It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Just do.
That's not the. Just do device header or something. Also, why do you need num after all?
It's just the class.
Do the simplest thing. The simplest thing.
Events, and in this case, we're gonna be having public static. It's called edit like this. Up static did. I will call it a string. Come on, my computer is totally trashed right now.
If you need a bit of time, I can also.
Switching to you. So in this case, I can type, because it's when it shows my screen, it also I need to type.
Okay, so while Victor is trying to get some result on his computer, because.
And what's the second type of events that we have? Device.
It was contact.detected.
Okay. I think it should be there because you were producing this from command line, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of mess in there. Oh no, actually, I did not. So you not find it in the event log yet, but you can send it. And meanwhile, while you're playing with your end, what I want to do is I want to make use out of consumer I just wrote, and for that I will write a very simple thing. I'll actually window timeout, or window just by just window by duration, duration of seconds. So every 5 seconds, I'll be printing some statistics about the events we receive. So for that, I need to flat map this window into something meaningful, and I'll have window, which is another flux. And if you're not familiar with the Reactive API, I would really suggest you to read a little bit about Reactive and how you can define your pipelines with a Reactive approach, because it's very powerful. So here I'm just doing window processing, something you would be using framework for, just by adding a couple of operators, which is kind of nice. And for that, I'll be using, let's say, scan. Yeah, scan, why not? Where my initial state will be new hash map string, and key will be the event type, and integer, or should I? Okay, integer is fine. And integer will be the number of occurrences. And I have a function. So my accumulator, event, and I need to return the accumulator back. Now, for every missing, can I use merge? Yeah, I think I can use merge. Anyways, event get event, or it's not an event actually, it's record. get type. Okay. I need to be careful because if type is null, then it will fail. So I'll be just using type is null. Oh, no, it cannot be null because it's cloud events. Cool.
So while you're typing, I have a question because I totally forgot what I'm doing here. So if I have an event of one type, what I need to do, like what we agree upon, like.
So let's just get some sense out of records we have. I think it's up to you what to do, but I guess the easiest would be just to print stats, like the same thing I'm doing with reactive APIs through liiklus. I guess you can also do the same with Kafka streams. Let's just calculate how many events we have per type.
How many events per C type? Okay, gotcha.
Per type, yeah. Okay, cool. And I'm continuing, and still playing with this. I think I'll be using compute because that's the thing I know. Key unused, then previous value, and then previous value not equals now, then previous value. Oh, Jesus. Otherwise, just one. And I'm pretty sure there's a better way of doing it. But yeah, this is good enough. So I'll be grouping them, but oh, actually, I already said that we have reactive APIs, which means that I can group by get event, get type. Yay, I don't need map. That's very nice. And a sub aggregation. Let's extract the pipeline. We will be grouping by type. And then what are we getting here? We get grouped flags. And this group flags will map to group to something like group get group key. Yeah, group key. And the value be group count that I need to use in a reactive context, of course. So I'm grouping by event type. Then for each subgroup, I just count it by key and value. And now I need to transform it into, so I have a flux, but I don't want to emit multiple records per window. I just want to merge all of them. So I think I'll just collect with collectors joining and yep, something like that. And the prefix will be top character, there will be no suffix, and like this. Oh, it's such a mess. I mean, the underlying technology is great, but what I'm doing with this technology is just a mess. So, yeah. Now
aren't we all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're using some of the some of the stuff maybe in a way that it was not meant to be used. Just kidding. Maybe.
The suffix. Let me just restart it to make it look nicer. But I think I'm already getting some results. So, waiting 5 seconds. Boom. So, apparently we have 4 IO Confluent Developer live streams 4 events. We do have 7 devices added or device added events. 18 com example and 18 com example event. So yeah, we're running some or we're receiving some stats, and I'll be sending more through grp curl, and device ID is missing, of course. So let me add device ID local. Okay, and I just sent 6 device added events, and then another one went into the next window, and next window is empty. So I can actually, Jesus. I think I can do it like this. 3 events. Oh, really? Okay, and I just added 3 events. So just like that, in a couple of lines of code, I implemented window processing on top of liiklus for the events we publish it. And that's all thanks to Project Reactor, actually, that gives me this fancy API with group by and stuff. And if I switch back to the code and reiterate, then what we have here. So we are getting the events, then we window them every 5 seconds, or we split it into windows that end every 5 seconds. And then for each sub-window, we group the events by their type. We count the number of events. And as you can see, we use this flat map, dot map. Well, the thing is, it's all streaming. We do stream stuff. We're not buffering. We could buffer, by the way. Like I could also change it to something like buffer, and then it will not be a window, but buffer. And then this buffer contains a list of events, so it's way easier for me to work with it if I want. But it will not be streaming, and it will be buffering all the events we received in the memory. Still, that's a valid approach. So if I do the same thing, basically, with something like buffer, how should I do it? Oh, Jesus. Probably reduce. Oh, just bear with me. Okay, let's give it a shot. String. No, okay. I want to use collectors. Grouping by get event, get type. Now I group them, and I want to collectors. What's going on?
Come on, my computer is just like totally trashed.
Really?
Yep, it's like super slow. I can even I don't know how even our live stream is going. I guess it's all priority on the processor side of things. It was taken by live stream. So maybe I need to have a like another computer so I can stream this. But we'll see. So okay, so I'm trying to do. So there is no default facility on Kafka streams that allow me access to headers.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Am I still presenting, or you?
Yes, are you still presenting? Yep.
Okay. So while talking, I'll just finish this part of code where I'm not using Reactor API for the buffering, just doing classic stream Java stream processing. Please continue.
No, like I'm not showing anything, but like my idea was to, if you switch back to camera real quick on your side.
Just a moment.
Yep. Okay. So go into, what is it? Yeah, this one. Builder, stream, events. So this events events topic, is it correct to assume that the key and value there are strings, right? If I will be reading this using console consumer.
Yeah, I can read it as string.
No, like when the liiklus writes it down, it's just like using just a string serializer, right?
It operates on bytes level, but for you, you can assume that it will always be a string.
Okay, string.
Because we were not using the bytes as a payload. It was always a string.
I guess it was done just for like simplicity, right? And there's nothing to do with the, sometimes it was all like, wait, how this will be performed? It's going to be all string, or like, should I use compression and blah, blah, blah. So let's assume I do have a key and a value as a string. And next, I'll do transform values. Transform values. So in this case, new transform with key. Do I need a key? No, I don't need a key. So why it says I need to transform values. So new supplier. No, it's not like that. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do here. So because we discussed this earlier, this stuff goes into header. I need to extract this from the header and flatten it out. So first of all, I took this like cloud event spec. I will be using just like Avro generated Java class, and I will populating this stuff from these headers into my Avro.
That's nice.
Into my Avro thing. So as soon as I do, let's do this one. Public class. Say cloud events header extractor implements value transformer with key. So in this case, key value, and after that, I need to have a result. In this case, it's gonna be key string value string, and the result's gonna be what this Avro cloud event cloud. So what's the name of the class? Avro cloud event. Okay. So in this case, once I have it in Avro format and I will publish it into schema registry, I will be able to access this from KeySQL easily, and the schema would be retrospected. Nice. Schema would be retrospected from here. We need to implement methods. Init transform and init. So the reason why I'm doing this here, there's only way how I can access the headers is from this processor context. Context. So here I would say I will do context dot this context equals context. So in this case, I will be able to do key read only and value read only, but I can get a context and I can do headers.
Yay.
So in this case, now I need to do, this kind of like for each. So headers, what is that? Is it iterable? Can I do headers? It's supposed to be iterable, right? Yes, it is iterable. So I can do things like how I can create a stream from iterable, just streams off.
You need to have stream support. So call static method on class called stream support dot stream.
Support.
Just stream support singular. Dot stream.
And I can do.
That's okay. That's okay.
And I can pass this iterable here.
No, but there will be splitterator method on the iterable. That's a bit clunky.
Okay, so splitterator.
Yes, headers, splitterator, yeah, and comma false.
So in this case, so what it does?
So, if I remember, yeah, it's parallel.
Okay.
Now we have a stream.
So in this case, I can do filter. So I can do not empty object. Now I need to get the. So it's gonna be header. If it's gonna be empty value, I don't need this. So right. No, why I'm even doing this? Like I can just do for each, and after that, populate this with it's. I don't need this, right?
I think for this exercise you could just extract the type header c_type.
Yeah,
and
type.
Then
yeah, exactly. So I'll do
how
new.
many types we received, group by type.
So in this case, new our cloud event. And in this case, I will do. Let me see. Okay, so I'll do context, headers. There's a. You don't need to iterate for everyone. I can get. I think the key value access from headers, and I'll do kind of like a get or something like that. No, there should be.
It's headers. It's headers, or last header.
No. I just need to one header string key. So what I do is it returns all headers for given key. So in this case, it's gonna be. That's clunky.
No, I mean last header. I think will give you the last value by key, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Returns one of the last header for given key if present. Okay, so I'm getting this one.
And while you're playing with the headers API and Kafka client,
switching back to you.
Okay. So there was a question: how can different protocols, gRPC, RSocket, can be treated on the same port 8081? If I want to use different transport, not TCP for RSocket port, for RSocket port will be the same or not. So first of all, liiklus does not use the same port for RSocket and gRPC. For gRPC, it's 6565. For RSocket, it's 8081. You can run gRPC on the same port as HTTP port of liiklus, 8080. It will require support from the framework, and some tools some frameworks like Armeria allow doing so. With the RSocket, liiklus exposes the DCP transport, and if you need WebSocket transport, you need to additionally configure it. And in our previous stream, I said that gRPC and RSocket, basically any transport in liiklus are plugins. So you can also write your own plugin for your own custom transport, where let's say WebSocket, RSocket could also be considered as custom transport. And I also wanted to quickly share that after rewriting this thing with buffer, now I get a list of records. So I'm buffering them in memory, hence the buffer operator. And then I'm just using streams API from Java to count by type and to print it in a nice way. And now if I send more events, we see is okay, 2 events arrived, now 3 events arrived, and if I'm really fast, more events have arrived. So just by using a couple of operators, we were able to get some basic information, or what we just did is we aggregated the events by some common parameter. In our case, it was type, C type. And you should also remember that when it goes to Kafka, it will not be just type, but CE underscore type because of custom headers in Kafka. But yeah, this is how you can write consumer. And just to demonstrate that it is so flexible, the underlying thing, the protobuf RPC, I can quickly change it back to gRPC, basically. Like, why not? Or stop, like, or stop, liiklus stop. Channel and the created channel, that's the thing I also forget. So I'll just copy it from the test using managed channel builder for target. Port 6565. And now I can use this stub to run the same operations. Boom, boom. So I'm no longer using the RSocket calendar. I can comment it out. And if you rerun the same code, I should get the very same result. Stats of messages aggregated by event type. Yep. So it doesn't really matter which transport you're using, unless you're talking about performance or usability or operation experience. I would personally prefer to use RSocket for consuming because it is more, it is better when it comes to reactive processing, and the whole thing is reactive anyways. And you can see, or like you can watch a talk by Oleg Dakuka, who is talking about RSocket and compares it to gRPC, reactive gRPC. And the talk contains a very good demo where he demonstrates how gRPC-based consumer goes out of memory, and it's kind of good indicator that it's not really back pressure friendly or reactive, while the RSocket one runs just fine. Victor, I'm giving it back to you.
Yeah, so I was just like playing around this API, and I don't really like it. So as far as I understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, so the to get this kind of like additional information about this the cloud events, it needs to be put inside this attribute field, right? Or in, if I'm looking to this one.
Using Aura?
Yeah. So in this case, this is gonna be because inside the record. So cloud event data. So also it doesn't have, yeah, it's really terrible. It's treating this still like a JSON, even though specification has a very well definition of, very well good definition of the what exactly goes there. But I still need to use this map, right? Mm-hmm. So. This kind of doesn't make any sense. Probably I need to look on somewhere like a Java API, right? So, but in this case, I need to provide like my own serializer. So it's kind of mess. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, it is a bit messy, but I'm lacking some experience, our experience to help you here. But I suggest that maybe you can explore how to map it to the Avro cloud event later. You will not you know, be happy with the Cloud Events Java SDK and what you want to achieve, I suppose. But I suggest that instead of mapping to the Cloud Event type, consider just extracting the type.
I just want
type,
to, yeah, I just want to, yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, so my hunch was correct. So it uses Cloud Event attributes, but in Avro, it's just going to be general map attributes. So this is why, so what I'm doing here, I'm just like extracting these fields to get, you know, this type of stuff.
yeah.
So what is that? What is it? What this error says? What the fuck is this? Expected. So why it is expected here?
Some commas are missing in your map.
You see, good stuff. So I'm getting type, source, content type, specification, because inside our is the type is important, right? So I'm doing this transform values. It's gonna be our, you see, extractor. It's going to be supplier because it's going to be like factory that creates this guy. Correct? Now, let's see if we get the correct stream. I like to test myself if I'm doing this right. I'm going to be getting stream of cloud events stream. And string and cloud event. In this case, my key will be null. So if I'll do cloud event stream, we'll do select key or map values. No, select key should be fine. Select key, new key mapper. So it's going to be our key value, and my object in this case is going to be a string because I was selecting key from implement methods.
And I think as soon as the Cloud Events SDK version 2 is released, you should be able to use Cloud Events deserializer so that when you create your stream, you're using the built-in deserializer for Cloud Events, and you're getting not just string, but ready to be used instances of the Cloud Events. But it's not there yet. Yeah.
Okay, so it is going to be to string. Again, terrible code, not checking any nulls because there would be some of the meaning things. So the way how I'm doing this, next thing is that group by key, and result, I'll get the count, right? And I'll do print. So count, it's going to be key table. So in this case, I'll do to stream, and I should be able to do something like print. What's going to be printed? There should be something like printed to system out. Yep. So this is what this is how we roll essentially. Another thing that we need to include this outwire. So the Spring Boot will create for me. I really like to use just Spring Boot to parse these properties because the Kafka Streams APIs is just too low level. Like even there's no parser for properties if I want to pass something. Spring Boot caves.
Does it need to have quotes?
Not necessarily.
It's just a property.
Yeah, it's just a property. So I think that is it might be static. Okay, should be all right. So this is what we get. Another thing, just it would do enable Kafka streams, and we should be good. Let me see if how I can set application reset early. So it should read this from the very beginning. Let me get this guy out of here for now. I don't need this. And so, do you know the number? How much?
Yep.
Stop and return.
Let me run my consumer so I can give you numbers that I calculated, and then we'll compare. Maybe not much. So device added 56 live stream for example 18 and example event 8.
Okay, port was already in use. What the hell? Let me see if I have anything running here. And most likely I do, because there's another app is up and running here. This is the producer.
There's a command, Spring has good support for RSocket, it seems. Well, indeed, we were working, and when I say we, I mean Pivotal and now VMware. We were working very closely with RSocket team to make it work, first of all, reliably, but also to support things like reusing port and other things. And yeah, starting with Spring Framework, I think version 5.3 or maybe 5.0. I think 5 must be 5.3 or something. There is built-in RSocket support, and it supports routing, it supports other features of RSocket. So yeah, it will indeed give you all the features of RSocket with Spring standard way of doing things, like putting a couple of annotations and implementing a couple of lines of code, and that's it. So, what do you have?
Serializer, okay. Byte array serializer incompatible. Okay. So in this case, I need to specify cloud event as my. Okay, I know what I'm doing. So in this case, I want to have.
Sorry, I have a suggestion.
Yep.
Let's just extract the type as string from the headers and not do the other cloud event yet.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds
your
good.
CA header extraction.
Yeah, so in this case, I'll just say, let's have it. Let's comment it out. Since we're just counting, right? So in this case, we'll do string. We'll do string. We'll do implement method, transform. Just make sure that we're doing this. It's gonna be this one.
Looks good.
And in this case, my topology would be different because let's just, oops, so Russian collusion here. Option, what's the?
That's just your password.
No, it's actually, no, what is happening? Inline.
It's defined. Case stream is defined as string
to
our cloud
I
event.
know. I just wanna like when I inline this, it should get rid of this stuff. Select key. So I don't need to do select key because
just value.
In this case, I will just do exactly. So in this case, I'll just do type of thing. Value. Okay, good stuff. And so it returns string. Why it says why what?
Extra parentheses.
Select in processor. Okay, it's not the processor. Yep, somewhere here, extra one. Or not enough, or extra.
I think it's before select key. After new.
Yes, because they were casting before, and this is why I just don't need this. Now, to stream, so that should work. I'm wondering if I need to provide the name, or it will be choosing the name some randomly. Let's see.
Name?
When I do to stream. Probably it will just like use some of the like weird auto-generated topic name.
Okay.
Let's see. Opening in aggregated mode. Let's see. There's gonna be too many stores. Why is so many? Okay, class string. Okay, default serializer. Okay.
Aha!
To stream produced. Okay, so
So
no. It's
that's how we end our streams, with class cast error.
Yeah, exactly. So let me see. What's the method I need to stream? To stream named stream. Um, I'm thinking if I need to do either count, because which materialized with string long. String should be used here.
But don't you need to do some windowing?
No. Materialized with, I'll just do, because after group key, I guess it loses some of the type information. So in this case, I'll get do string, and the value is gonna be Sergei long. Yeah, I think this should do. So in this case, I will provide the type when I do count, and after that, it will be able to inherit this information about serializers from downstream the string. Yeah, I think this is the problem. Like, because by default it's using byte. And my personal preference, I still stick to default. I don't like to redefine or re-implement. In the configuration, you can specify for your serializer what's going to be default. I don't like to do this because in this case, you kind of losing control over what kind of types you're sending over there. When you're very specific about what you do, either consumed with, or produced with, or materialized with, this type of stuff. I think this is the problem where I do have module string. I think this is somewhere here. If I can do, let me see if a print also required me to do this kind of stuff. Let's do this one. Okay, so to stream, let's call it counts. And let's just do so to stream, and after that I can do war. I'll do variable.
But do you really need to, like create a separate stream just for this counting?
So the way Kafka streams work, it's always need to have a somewhere to to persist the data. Where's the two? So in this case, it needs to have a to topic. We'll call it a count. Come on. Don't die. Events. Counts. And produced with Sergei. I remember your kind of complain about this kind of like a very opinionated way to do things. So that should work, and that should be enough. So I will be able to see results in. Fuck! I need to create this freaking. Yeah, I need to create
One thing I noticed is that you don't have any windowing or buffering. Like windowing is the one I'm looking for actually. How we would always publish the latest count.
This is
update.
Yeah, this is kind of like a slightly different way how the Kafka streams does. So essentially, there's a caching, and locally it will be able to cache some of the results in this K table, and after that, like after some timeout, we emit only like latest and greatest event. So looks like it works. I'll do this one. Create defaults. Did you create the topic with defaults last time?
No, I did not. I over-provisioned it or over-partitioned it for the future scalability.
What exactly? Where we losing this one? Okay, transform. Let's just see where is it losing it? Group by key. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do what? Serialization for what?
Why the serializer?
Because I didn't define this one. The stream, the Spring uses this. I will figure out this after. Key value. Oh, okay. It's a very beginning consumed with transform with value. Let's see if I need to. So essentially, it's a default that Spring follows. Let me see if I need to do something like named, not named, transform values, named string. I'm just trying to figure out where is it like a string. Is it select key?
There is some hint like change the default service and stream config.
Yeah, exactly. This is what. Yeah, let's do this one. Just for I will figure out. I will just figure out this later. And where's default? Should be kind of sort of like
string dot topic that streams something.
I think it's. It needs to be set through the properties and like a default key value. Let me see. Come on. I need to find this like a Spring default. Change defaults or day in streams config using this cell. 2, okay. Or this cell parameter 2 string topic produced with produced the case or day. Yeah, this is what I'm doing, right? Produced with transform value. I think it can be consumed with third day string. Select key grouped. Okay, it's over here. So grouped with okay. Yeah, the third day. 2 verbose.
Okay, question. Can you use for each? Just for each after you dot count.
1 second. No, let's.
Instead of the stream. I mean, I'm just going through the docs, but I thought it's the one you would be using for debugging stuff.
Yes, I can do for each. It's called peak. It's called peak, but it's still
in
like
it's called for each. So it's a terminal operation that just allows you to system out println some stuff.
Let's see. Okay, I think it's working. It is working. So in here, we should see a bunch of messages.
Should I produce more?
Okay.
Hey.
So value 8. What's the key?
What that? Topic. Okay. By the way, if you switch some near columns drop down, if you switch to this burger style of viewing thing,
that would be.
you'll get more. things out of
So
records.
let me do this one. The application works. Let's do. So I can do then. Events. Print.
Why not for each? I mean, just trying to.
It's gonna be the same. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you can split the stream into multiple streams?
Yeah, because it's a terminal, two terminal operations.
Okay, cool.
So this should work. Offset partition, repartition. Okay. Let me see if I'm. It should be like doing this from beginning. Okay, so edit 66.
Woohoo!
And I guess
And
it's this is what like this caching thing that I was talking about. So it will speeds out the result after I guess like 30 seconds, like by default the caching says, or there's something. There should be another one in a few. Edit.
okay.
Can you throw one of the edit 73?
Yeah, I just submitted some.
Edit, but what about this? What's the another one?
Contact detected?
Detected. Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, I was talking about this like a caching thing in one of my live streams. So if you wanna check this out, you can check it there. Maybe I'm not reading those correctly. Maybe we're not putting this in the right place. How you think? Where is it? Type, C type value. That should be there, right? I don't know. Like why it's not.
I'm still working on sending it.
Okay.
Just give me a second. Okay, and I'm sending. I'm just checking whether, yeah, contact detected. So I just sent 3.
Okay. I will just do Kafka streams reset offset.
Suppose you can just change the group ID
It's a good idea.
for the application.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's smart. 3.
That's how I do things. I drop old things and I create new ones.
Yeah, so I would just do like Kafka streams. Give me a second. Kafka streams config the auto reset offset. I believe Spring does slightly different thing in the auto. What's this? Reset offset. So it's gonna be from. Will it? This is interesting. So in this case, I need to check. But essentially, it works kind of, sort of. I need to. Let's see if earliest will work. So in this case, I will go application properties, Spring Boot streams 2. Let's restart this. Create bunch of it create bunch of crap in our cluster, but like we can use application reset afterwards and clean up.
Kafka streams 2. Class cast exception strikes back.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's gonna.
I hope so.
I don't think it is gonna. And also, like, I should have disabled caching, so you will see the results as a message arrived. Event. Okay, so now it works.
Awesome. Cool.
We have event, we have live streams, contact detected, and edit. Okay, so consider this a success. I think this is a good place to stop for today. Did we meet under La Manche, under Le Mans? You know, when they were drilling the tunnel under Le Mans, they were drilling this from both sides and they missed. So this is why there's a joke, like when you performing this type of stuff, like did we meet each other? So like does my numbers were, you know, same numbers as you have?
So if you give it back to me,
Yes, it's all
then
yours.
I'll do so.
Okay, 73.
Thing right now. No, wait a second. I'll do it properly, and by properly I mean I'll screw up my setup. But give me a moment. And yeah, this is your screen. This is my screen, and we are going to compare. So, Jesus.
But there's your picture.
All right.
There's your picture down below. So
then, because otherwise people will be like, hey, you did all that and didn't compare the numbers. So that's what we are doing, and why Skype is, oh, it's never good. So these are my events. These are yours. Come example event 8-8.
Okay, match.
Live stream 4 and 4 match. Contact detected 3. We have a match. Come example 18-18 match, and devices 1173 have a match. And if I publish one more, and it is contact detected, then since my application was just listening, or was windowing every 5 seconds, it shows one added, and the Kafka streams one, I suppose, will also follow up after 30 seconds because it does windowing. I see.
Yeah, it's not windowing. It's just local caching. So the way how it works, the thing what we're reading right now is essentially like we're reading from the topic. So and when the Kafka streams emitted this to the topic, before that time it would store an internal state. So this is why like every result will not be emitted immediately. So it's a table, right? So it's just like post kind of stream of updates. So if you look on this one. So once we get this count, it produces me case stream. So this case stream is local for now, because it stores in local, DB. When I did the this method on line 70, let me show my screen if I can. So on this line, so this here, I'm turning this table into stream. So in this case, each change on this table will be emitting the new event, like change event. So this is why this is the result of this change event. You see, so but essentially this is what we get the aggregated result. We can also materialize it and make it available by key value. But hey, so at least we're already getting somewhere, right? So we can access the same thing. So this is the beauty of this. It's the beauty of this event gateway, where we not necessarily need to follow the same technology, since we can extract this from underlying source of truth, and we know that Kafka is our source of truth. That's what's going to be doing. So yeah.
Yep. So let's wrap up, and a short summary or bottom line of today's stream would be that you can write consumer by using a Kafka API if you know that you're always sending and consuming from Kafka. We may also later discover why you may want to consume directly from liiklus, but that's for the next stream, obviously.
Yeah. So
and we also wrote a very simple consumer on the liiklus side.
Consumer, it's RSocket. We're going Kafka consumer plus Kafka streams. So I will post the source code afterwards, and you can send me your, whatever code, or I will put. I will show. I will show you.
For us to create a repository on GitHub.
Yeah, I already have it in live streams, like the place where I'm putting everything. We can put it there for time being, so people can consume it quickly. I will share this link, and you can put your code there. But afterwards, if people would be interested, we can just put this in the liiklus kind of like examples or whatnot. So I think this is it for today. So dear people, thank you so much for staying with us. We still have 5 people. Hopefully one of them is my mom. So hello, hi mom.
Yeah.
So and thanks our regulars. Like we have Alexander, Raspberry Goo. It's our guy that I've seen him in a bunch of streams. So some other people. Thanks so much for joining. Stay tuned for next week. Next week we're probably not gonna do this because Sergey, why we're not gonna do this next week? Why?
Kafka Summit?
Kafka Summit, exactly. Kafka Summit next week. Okay. So we're doing the Kafka Summit. If you're not registered yet, do go register, and you will get all the goodies for the Kafka Summit. And thank you so much, Sergey, for being with me. So let me display this information where the people can find us. So the Sergey Twitter, my Twitter. Go follow us. We kind of sort of interesting people. We just like spent like 2 hours and 30 minutes just like coding our ways under Le Mans, so that we can compare numbers of events. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We're getting somewhere. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Yeah. So thanks so much, Sunil. Thanks so much for being with us. And yeah, that's great.
Thanks, everyone.
And as always, have a nice day.